Good evening, everyone. It is so good to see so many people having such a good time. I'm just delighted. But the show must go on, and how wonderful it is to be here tonight to celebrate great Olmsted champions. I hope you all have had 2 terrific days and much room for thought and much food for thought as well. We have one more day to go where we will begin to see some of the Olmsted Brothers residential work and corporate work, and really looking forward to tomorrow, which will extend us into the broad Olmsted of, as we learned last night with that quiz, about 6,000 projects around the country. But tonight we're going to focus on 5 incredible individuals and organizations who have done so much to advance the work of the Olmsted firm. We could not do it without friends groups. We could not do it without individuals who are committed to the principles and the work of Olmsted and the Olmsted Brothers and firm. And we're going to hear about them tonight. So we will have 5 presentations, and I'm going to turn it over to Phil Schultz, who will make the very first one.
Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for coming this evening. Got a lot of mics here. I'm Phil Schultz, the chairman of the board of the Olmsted Network. I'd like to welcome you all again. Thank you all so much for coming. I'm going to do the Caroline Laughlin Volunteer Service Award, which recognizes extraordinary dedication and commitment to Olmsted Parks and Landscapes. Tonight's recipient has been a champion of Frederick Law Olmsted for over 38 years with the Frederick Law Olmsted Society of Riverside, Illinois, and the Riverside Historical Commission. During those years, she has engaged in ongoing and sometimes extraordinary efforts to preserve the unique nature of Olmsted's first planned community. As president of the Olmsted Society, she directed its efforts, including expanding Riverside's national landmark footprint, participating and volunteering in volunteer work days. Oh, you're tricking me here, Dee Dee. Clearing invasive plants, planting and maintaining trees, bushes and shrubs, conducting tours of the architectural treasures, and serving as the most senior guide, leading walking and trolley and bus tours for visitors from around the world. She has written the Arcadia Guide to Riverside and overseen and curated the Olmsted collection of books and periodicals in the Riverside Public Library. Without exaggeration, tonight's honoree has dedicated her life to protecting and preserving the landscape legacy of Frederick Law Olmsted. For her sustained and exemplary volunteer service on behalf of Frederick Law Olmsted, the Olmsted Network is honored to present Constance Guardi with the Caroline Laughlin Volunteer Service Award. Why don't you come up here to get the photo? Okay, come on over here. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Here we go. Okay, let's get together. We got to do the photo op.
You know, he said 38 years.
I was
Whole
wrong.
team. I'm 80.
Okay, now, wait, hold on.
Oh, now my turn.
Hold on.
Okay.
Do you want to hold that or
Sure.
not? Okay,
Right now.
all right.
Oh, you even have my book here. But by the way, it's co-authored.
Oh, co-authored, okay.
Lonnie Sachi.
So the citation reads, in recognition of her extraordinary dedication and commitment to the preservation of the Olmsted Legacy in Riverside, Illinois. Congratulations, Connie. With the big Guardi fan club, please stand up.
Get those girls out.
Do you want to make any comments?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's a funny one.
All right, okay, good. You're up.
Oops. This won't take very long. You know, he's reading all that. I hardly recognize that person. I think there's some exaggeration. But Dee Dee, where is she? So I get this call from Dee Dee, and she says, "Oh, you won the Caroline Laughlin Service Award, Volunteer Service Award." I said, "Well, what?" I said, "Did you pick my name out of a hat?" I had no idea. That gentleman sitting back there, you see him, he's trying to hide. And these two, to see the fancy blouse over there and the one next to her, they nominated me and never told me. Right? So when I said, "Did you pick my name out of a hat?" Right? Well, anyway, I had to search to find out where the connection was for me. So I was looking for some kind of spirit that would, and I found it. I found it in the 12th volume of the papers. Charles Beveridge, who won this award, is the the big honcho, right? As well as being the foremost scholar. I mean, I don't know where my name comes with this. This is a little Arcadia book, I mean, okay, so he did that. And then Caroline Laughlin, the book is dedicated to her. So his name's my name's in that book. But you have to hunt for it. It's among those 200 acknowledgments. I'm there. Okay, so that was the spiritual. The next thing was, all right, last year I was named Person of the Year in Riverside. And it was a lovely, dinner like this. I mean, great. But the best part was Olmsted came to it in the guise of Big Head Fred. He made his debut in Riverside. Okay, but here's the real reason why I got this. Riverside is 154 years old. It is the most preserved of any communities that he did. For 154 years, volunteers have maintained his legacy, have preserved that. Believe me, if it hadn't been for volunteers, because we're just a real estate-based tax, I mean, we've got all this beautiful, you could call us a village in the park, but we're a village, and so housing and whatever. But through all those 154 years, there have been people there who have really given of their time to make sure. I mean, we could have had all kinds of encroachments through all these periods, and it didn't happen. And so I am just not a bobblehead, a figurehead for them. Because I feel that's all. I represent all of them. And the people who nominated me, and I know my granddaughters someday are going to be among them. And even the man who lives in Milwaukee now was a volunteer when he was in Riverside. I mean, it's kind of our DNA. If you live there for a while, you're going to volunteer, you're going to do something that preserves that. So I have to say that's the reason. And I will introduce you to the people at the table. My husband, I call him St. Thomas. His name is Tom, because he's lived with me for 45 years. And then there's my son, the Tom, but he's not anywhere near sainthood. And then my darling granddaughters, you see Lenora, she's 9 going on 15. And the little one there, put your head up there, please. She's 6, and people say she looks like me, but look at the beautiful version of me. And at the table, there is Cindy Kellogg. She was a conspirator, and also Lisa Lombros next to her. They put Jim Petrzylka with his lovely wife Sandy up to writing the nomination that, remember, they didn't tell me about. And then Ralph Harris, who used to be a Riversider, but I want you to know here in Milwaukee, he gave us a whole tour when we were upstairs in the blue, and he told us all the buildings. So whoever's in charge of things in Milwaukee, you should recruit this guy. It's about time he volunteered again. Okay. Anyway, I think that's it. And I want to say I am so honored. I mean, it's a big surprise to me, especially when we're honoring parks and things, and this is the community. But thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Good evening. I am Steve Livengood. I'm the board member from Washington, D.C. I work with the U.S. Capitol Historical Society, and the Capitol grounds are a Olmsted landscape. My job is to present the Olmsted Network Stewardship Award, which recognizes an individual or institution for outstanding stewardship of the living legacy of landscapes designed by Frederick Law Olmsted and his sons, associates, and successor firms. Honorees have shown a sustained commitment to and a record of accomplishment in researching, managing, preserving, and interpreting Olmsted landscapes for future generations. Tonight's recipient has been studying and writing about members of the Olmsted firm for more than 5 decades. Much of her research has centered around the extensive nationwide works of John Charles Olmsted and the design contributions made by less recognized partners and firm members. Thanks to her life's work, scholars and the park-loving public have an array of cultural landscape reports and accessible research materials, including the sumptuously illustrated Blue Garden, which provide important insights into the Olmsted firm and aim to inspire future scholarship. In addition to producing groundbreaking research and speaking about Olmsted landscapes around the country, tonight's honoree has been an engaged and informed advocate for the protection and preservation of Olmsted landscapes. She joined the National Association for Olmsted Parks in its first year, recognizing early on the important Olmsted legacy in her home state of Massachusetts. The Massachusetts Association for Olmsted Parks was in many ways a model for the young NAOP, and she was there from the beginning to inventory the state's Olmsted firm work. During her service on the NAOP board as a member and co-chair, she was responsible for launching Reprints, a print publication now available online, seeking to provide context for some of the writings of the Olmsted brothers. She has been active in local and national nonprofit landscape preservation groups, advised on aspects of the Olmsted design legacy, and served for over 20 years with the Maintenance and Management Oversight Committee for the Muddy River, overseeing sustainable rehabilitation for iconic parks and Greater Boston's Emerald Necklace. She also helped the young Frederick Law Olmsted National Historic Site realize the importance and the scope of its collections. For her extraordinary combination of scholarship, practice, and advocacy over a long career, we are pleased to present the Olmsted Stewardship Award to Arleyn Levee. Arleyn regrets that she could not be with us tonight, but we look forward to presenting this award to her in person. Thank you.
It's my honor to present the President's Award. The President's Award is made by the President with the approval of the Board of Directors. Established in 2022, this award recognizes exemplary service in championing Olmsted work and principles. Tonight's recipient exemplifies true dedication to advancing the Olmsted legacy. When few others paid attention, this friends group came to the rescue of a grand but deteriorating landmark, the Olmsted-Beil farmhouse on Staten Island. Despite designation on both the state and national historic registers and protection under the New York City landmarks legislation, the Olmsted-Beil house has been abandoned for 40 years. In the face of incredible challenges, including repeated vandalism, these hardy volunteers have dedicated both time and resources to saving the house and farm where Olmsted experimented with many of the ideas that later transformed the American landscape. Since their founding in 2018, these friends have tirelessly supported the New York City Department of Parks and Recreation, which owns the property. They have grown their supporters to more than 100 dues-paying members, established a robust board, successfully applied and obtained historic designation of the farmhouse, and developed an array of inspiring educational programs and resources to spread the word about this extraordinary place. They have worked with law enforcement to protect the site from vandalism and educated site neighbors on how to assist such efforts. They have raised the visibility of the site through a successful campaign to co-name the closest street Frederick Law Olmsted Way. They have annually coordinated volunteer work days, transforming the grounds from a tangle of invasives, tree limbs, and trash to a park landscape. And they have kept their eyes on the future, working vigorously to purchase an adjacent property with big thanks to Tina Casman-Dunn to buffer the site from further development and provide space for educational programming. Olmsted's parks, places, and principles tell a unique American story that touches millions of New Yorkers' lives and millions more in cities and communities across the continent. Saving the Olmsted-Beil house and farm is therefore essential to ensuring that Olmsted's important work and values continue to inform and inspire historians, landscape architects, community leaders, and members of the public. For these reasons, it is my honor this evening to present the 2023 President's Award to the Friends of Olmsted-Beil House for keeping Olmsted's legacy alive on Staten Island. And I call on all of you tonight to assist the Olmsted Network as we work to support this important cause and this incredible Friends group. Sean Ryan, a founding member of the board and a practicing landscape architect, will accept the award. You can get it retyped. Okay. Get pictures.
Smile.
Yes, hello everyone, and as you could imagine, how humbled I am to try and represent such a place and such people. Anything I could possibly say would be inadequate. All I could do is make some comments from my landscape architecture heart. The building is fascinating, but maybe more so the exterior. A few trees Olmsted planted truly make a recognizable space. With the curved walk and the ocean in the distance, one can see the musings of a mind at work, and thus there is a kind of magic and specialness to the place. Yet it is fragile. The original Tassamuck farm has been worn down to only a few remaining acres and surrounded by extreme human and natural forces. There would probably be nothing here at all if it weren't for Constance, whose vision and planning probably saved the place from almost certain oblivion. The antidote to this fragility is people working together, sometimes across generations, around some ideal, to teach people of a man who wanted to make the world a better place through landscape architecture seems like a wonderful value. And it does seem like Constance-Beil's spirit inspires and guides these efforts to preserve the charmed remaining place of Olmsted's Tassamuck farm. Myself, I would hope and pray this award helps the identity, purpose, and determination of the and providence of Friends of Olmsted-Beil House towards rehabilitation of Tassamuck Farm. The teamwork and sincerity of the group is inspiring. Naming some of the people involved, Felicity, Carlotta, and Eloise Beil. They grew up in the house, interestingly enough, and were with his father as he maneuvered the property to get it into the hands of the New York City park system. Our president, Arleyn Martin, our vice president, William Bell, treasurer, Paula Tomentosa, Secretary Barbara Avanzo, board members Carl Anderson, a landscape architect, Charlotte DeFillo, Tina Cassman Dunn, who was mentioned. Her property is connected to this and very critical to keeping visitor service and making this available to people in the future. Maureen Marlowe, Carol Ober, Patricia Salmon, Jeffrey Tandell, landscape architect, and Ginny Swadash, who really did most of putting this together. I was going to go through the advisory board, but one person I do really want to mention, and you know, as a landscape architect, I can see how this like works and all the forces at play and whatnot. An artist, Giuseppe Serentini. He took all the old maps and records, and he made a plan of the whole original Olmsted farm and with the few remaining acres. And as a landscape architect, I know if you can get something down on a piece of paper like this and get people to understand what's going on, the odds of the thing coming together and being successful transform tremendously. And I'm just using that as an example because all these people are coming together and working around this good cause. Scholars and professionals, public servants, and this is important. And anecdotally, every ordinary person I've met and across the spectrum, sociologically, economically, from the highest to the lowest. When I told them this story, they were happy, they were enthusiastic, and truly wishing the idea the best. And again, this is there's people, ordinary people I met. When they heard this, their eyes lit up that people were thinking of this and trying to do something. And all landscape architecture is teamwork and people working together. And thus, as humbly as I can possibly try and accept the award as a representative of Friends of Olmsted-Beil House, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Wayman Winston. I'm a fairly new board member, and I'm from this great city on the lake, Milwaukee, and it's my pleasure to present the next award. This award, the Certificate of Appreciation, acknowledges important initiatives or individuals whose efforts are worthy of support and encouragement. The recipients of tonight's first Certificate of Appreciation realize the visual arts that could tell Frederick Law Olmsted's story in unique and provocative ways. In a project supported by the Terra Foundation, the Washington Park Camera Club Archives Committee created a photographic exhibit, Soft Park Then and Now, to educate the public through video about Olmsted legacy in Chicago during the bicentennial of his birth. Founded in 1955 in an Olmsted landscape, the Camera Club is the oldest predominantly African-American camera club in the Chicagoland area. For more than 50 years, it has engaged photographers at all levels in creative ways. Members of the club archive committee wanted to document Washington and Jackson Parks and the surrounding neighborhoods, knowing that the existing and ongoing projects of the park could spur, without this, irrevocable changes. Chicago has this long history of destroying its rich history. There are people who have died from their efforts to provide this history, and employing the Chicago District large collection of archival photography and working with Chicago Park historian Julia Bachrach, my hero archivist that saved Chicago's history, those unknown stories, along with, this evening with her colleagues, Yvonne Carey Carter and Dwayne Savage, and fellow Camera Club members created extraordinary pairings of photographs of now and then, which capture personal and park history in moving ways. Without their deep devotion to this project, the Olmsted in Chicago project would not have happened, and we would have been lesser for it. For these reasons, the Olmsted Network is pleased to present its 2023 Certificate of Appreciation to the Washington Park Camera Club, the Archives Committee, and thanks for their creative leadership, commitment to ensuring our rich history record is preserved for our future and for countless citizens. Please. This is our first year making this award. As I said, you gotta come, please, please, oh, please, 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 please. That's all right, that's all right, that's all right, that's all right.
I'm the nominator.
I wanted you up here
Oh, thank you.
because librarians and archivists play this extraordinary role. You know, we don't think about it when we go to get that book or to get that photograph that someone had to intentionally make sure that object, that photograph was there. And but for the work of both the Camera Club and archivists, as I said, our city and our nation would be poor for it. And again, I wanted to acknowledge that after you told me
Thank you.
the story of literally single-handedly saving this extraordinary archive. I think it was just worth acknowledging your work and acknowledging also the work of the Washington Park Camera Club. And I noted to these guys, Washington Park was the park I started my career as a young man, as a Cub Scout, and it is passed on to my grandkids. And so to have them here, this is just extraordinary for me, and I'm just honored that they are receiving this award.
It has to go to him.
Speech.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm representing Washington Park Cameras Club Archive Committee. Yvonne Carey Carter, which you mentioned before, is one of our co-chairs, and I'm accepting this award on behalf of them. It was a really exhilarating experience. Julia Bachrach came to us at a time when we were establishing our archive committee with the goal of archiving the area and photographs then and now, and that's what our presentation was. So with their help, we got some of the Chicago Library's antiquities in order to compare how the park looked then and now. And it turned out to be one of the best experiences as far as getting people to be involved. If you understand, a camera club is simply a volunteer organization. We come in, we take the offices, we take the responsibilities, we come in on our own time after work, And we had 20 members who were actively involved in this project. That just shows how important it was, each individual in their own way. So I accept this on behalf of the Washington Park Camera Club and all of the effort that they did. And as it turned out to be bigger than we ever thought. You know, we put together the little thing, the little video of then and now. We got picked up by WTTW, and we actually had a half-hour segment there where they came out to the park and saw us in our own environment. So we got some recognition, but more, it built up the confidence of young budding photographers that they can go out and do something that's as important as this was. So I like to say that, but also like to say how it opened up my own mind. I grew up on 59th and Calumet. So if I go down the alley, I'm actually a half block away from South Park Avenue, which is now King Drive. That is Washington Park right there. So that was my backyard growing up. And I didn't know who Olmsted was at the time. You know, I'm saying from age 5 to, you know, adulthood. I learned of him in high school. But for me, and how it formed me, was we had a space to go. And that's the one thing that seems that Olmsted was always particular about, giving spaces that could be used by people. So we came out there and we would make our own baseball diamonds with gloves and hats for bases. And we'd have a grand time. We didn't need much to have fun. We'd lay out the football field. All we needed was the 2 goal lines on each end, and everything else was open, you know. So the space that was there allowed us to do this. The way that Olmsted provided those spaces. As a child, I remember going across the frozen lagoon, dragging our sleds behind, because there was a hill on the other side, and we could slide down the hill and hit that clean ice. And the whole idea was, let's see how far you can go. Can you get back to the other side? You know, those kind of experiences were the things that were there. He provided those spaces for that to happen. Hopping the fence to go on the late night swim at the swimming pool, because the lifeguard's going to stay there so long. You can't empty the pool at night, right? So we just wait them out and go in and have a grand time. Climbing the Fountain of Time, you know, one of the greatest things. Actually, I'm embarrassed that it took me years to be able to climb to the top, but at the top, there's a little walkway there. And you would never know it. I felt such a sense of accomplishment having scaled this darn thing. In '68, during the riots, the National Guard came into Chicago, full force. They set up tents in Washington Park. Well, you know, that didn't stop our daily routine of getting our guys together and going over to play softball in the park. We challenged them to a softball game. It was fantastic. They were so accommodating. We were so competitive, you know. We didn't realize what was going on at the time. But that's just those experiences. Had it not been for those open fields, for those places to play, for those places to interact, collecting ginkgo leaves, you know, but you know, as a kid, everybody had this thing where you had to go out and collect leaves or put in a little folder and identify them all. I was right there watching the park. I had that made in the shade. So my catalog was like this big. But all of those experiences come from the place. You know, I happen to have lived through that place for a good part of my life. I appreciate it more than some others might, but that was a place for you to grow, learn, have fun, and from the biggest part of it, be safe. So thank you, Olmsted, for the big thing that you did on influencing my life. And thanks for you all giving this award well-deserved award to the Washington Park Camera Club. A lot of work with it.
Well deserved.
That is indeed a tough act to follow. Good evening, everybody. My name is William Bell. I'm an Olmsted Network board member from New York City. On the way over here, I had two big fears. One was that I wouldn't be able to read my notes. The other was that I'd forget my glasses. As you can see, I've remembered my glasses. What I forgot were my notes. So the ever ready Dee Dee and Leslie bailed me out because they had an extra copy, and I've reproduced them. So we can begin. As you've heard, the certificates of appreciation acknowledge important initiatives or individuals whose efforts are worthy of support and encouragement. Tonight, our final award goes to a group that has illustrated the critical role that volunteers play in protecting and preserving Olmsted parks through advocacy, education, and stewardship, the Lake Park Friends, whose park hosted us this afternoon. We can give them a big round of applause. Over the last 2 decades, Lake Park Friends have undertaken maintenance projects that sustain Milwaukee's historic park and natural asset. There are many significant initiatives, and it's an impressive list. It's quite lengthy, so I hope you'll bear with me. But they include restoring the Waterfall Ravine, replacing the Locust Street Ravine wooden bridge, replanting trees to replace those devastated by the Emerald Ash borer, restoring the historic lion bridges and 8 lions, which we saw today, updating and maintaining the cinder running track and ice rink, installing new playground equipment, and creating new Lake Michigan vistas through the elimination of invasive species. In the face of organized and sustained opposition, the Friends has stood firm in its demand for the restoration and preservation of the Ravine Bridge, a major connector between the north and south areas of the park, a bridge we also saw today. Thanks to their commitment, this great bridge has now been recognized by the American Society of Civil Engineers for the quality of the restoration. Just last month, the Friends achieved yet another milestone, returning the bust of Christian Wall to the park that he loved and helped nurture. For these efforts and for their relentless dedication to protecting and preserving Milwaukee's extraordinary lake park, the Olmsted Network is pleased to present Lake Park Friends with its 2023 Certificate of Appreciation. And as someone said this morning, quoting Plato, I believe, past is prologue. So we are expecting more great things from Lake Park Friends, and the Olmsted Network stands ready to support and collaborate with you on these future efforts. Thank you for everything you've done so far. Did we not smile? We'll do it again for you. We'll do it again for you, Phil.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe one without glasses, huh?
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. All yours.
So, on behalf of the Lake Park Friends and its board, I accept this award, and I can assure you that it's been a labor of love. Thank you.
Well, what can I say that hasn't already been said? As we've learned already over the last 2 days, the Olmsted Network is literally a family, a network of people working together to advance the Olmsted legacy. You heard it tonight from these remarkable champions. And I want us all just to give them all one more round of applause. And I want to thank the nominators who also made certain that we were aware of these incredible people. And I just want to say to all of you tonight, thank you for your continuing participation. We will have more fun tomorrow, and you are adjourned. So thank you again, and congratulations to all of our winners.